The Best presents General and State Elections in Malaysian History.
The 11th general and state elections in Malaysian history took place on the 29th of November back to 1999. Sorry about that. So you guys remember how last time I talked about Anwar and Mahathir making a really good team? Yeah, well that aged pretty poorly because Anwar was always a bit of a ambitious man. He had many years of student activism and was the Minister of Education before, and so he had a very loyal young Malay base within UMNO, and so he always tried to position himself as someone who would replace Mahathir as president and prime minister. And so Mahathir felt a bit threatened by this ambition and feared that Anwar might replace him too soon. And so he laid a bit of a test for Anwar and basically left as prime minister, taking a bit of a leave for a couple months, leaving Anwar, who was the deputy prime minister, as the acting prime minister. And it was after this test that the relationship deteriorated pretty rapidly. And Anwar and Mahathir actually differed quite a bit in terms of how they would handle a large-scale economic crisis. However, I mean, they don't happen that often, right? Like, they would never have to actually, handle a large-scale economic crisis, right? He's right behind me, isn't he? So the Thai baht undergone currency speculation, and once the speculative bubble popped, the entire country was plunged into an economic crisis. And this crisis soon spread throughout East Asia and thus consumed Malaysia. So now Anwar and Mahathir, who were at odds, had to manage this crisis. Mahathir wanted to bail out many of Malaysia's companies in order to keep the economy afloat. Meanwhile, Anwar did not want to bail out companies, especially ones that were owned by Mahathir's son-in-law, Mukhriz Mahathir. Tensions boiled so much that Mahathir eventually sacked and fired Anwar from all government and party positions, and then charged him with corruption and sodomy in what many believe to be false charges. If you want to know what sodomy is, by the way, it's essentially just a cool way to say acidic, if you will. This had a little bit of a Streisand effect for Mahathir, and made Anwar into a bit of a martyr, thus sparking a new political movement within Malaysia known as the Reformasi movement, which I hope I don't need to translate into English. Anyways, many of Anwar's supporters within UMNO thus joined up with Anwar's wife, Wan Aziza Wan Ismail, to form a new political party known as Parti Keadilan Negara, or the National Justice Party. Keadilan would then join forces with Parti Rakyat Malaysia, a left-wing political party with socialist roots, along with PAS and the DAP, to form a new opposition coalition known as Barisan Alternatif. Wait. Barisan Nasional? Barisan Alternatif? You guys really couldn't have been a little bit more creative with the names. Come on, guys. Anyways, Barisan Alternatif would be held by Fadzil Noor, the president of PAS. However, this stirred up some controversy specifically for the DAP, as many non-Malay voters felt that it was a bit of a betrayal for the DAP to ally with their literal ideological antithesis, an Islamist fundamentalist party. And so many of BN's non-Malay parties definitely twist the knife against the DAP and attack them heavily for this decision. However, the struggling economy, along with Anwar's arrest leading to a galvanizing of opposition support, meant that perhaps the opposition could make significant gains, including taking some state governments or maybe denying a 2/3 majority. However, BN's victory was never really in doubt. So, let's see just how well the opposition did with the results. As expected, BN won, winning 148 seats and 56.5% of the popular vote. Meanwhile, Barisan Alternatif won just 42 seats and 40.3% of the popular vote, not exactly denying BN their 2/3 majority. However, they didn't make inroads in state governments. For example, in Kelantan, Barisan Alternatif won 41 seats to BN's 2 seats. And so Tok Guru Nik Aziz remained the Menteri Besar of Kelantan. For Terengganu, BA won 28 seats, while BN won a measly 4 seats. And so, on the 2nd of December 1999, Abdul Hadi Awang was sworn in as the Menteri Besar of Terengganu. But that's it in terms of BA victories. Now, on to the many BN victories. In Perlis, BN won 12 seats, while Barisan Alternative won just 3. And so, Shahidan Kasim remained the Menteri Besar of Perlis. Kedah, BN won 24 seats to BA's 12. And so, on the 11th of December 1999, Syed Razak Syed Zain Barakbah was sworn in as the Menteri Besar of Kedah. Boy, is that a mouthful of a name. Anyways, for Penang, BN won 30 seats, while BA won just 3 seats, and so Koh Su Kun remained the Chief Minister of Penang. For Perak, BN won 44 seats, while BA won just 8 seats, and so Tajo Rosli Muhammad Ghazali was sworn in as the Menteri Besar of Perak on the 3rd of December 1999. For Pahang, BN won 30 seats, while BA won just 8 seats, and so Adnan Yaakob remained the Menteri Besar of Pahang, having been previously sworn in as the Menteri Besar on the 20th of May 1999. For Selangor, BN won 42 seats, while BA won just 6, and so Abu Hassan Omar remained the Menteri Besar of Selangor, having been previously sworn in on 6th of June 1997. For Negeri Sembilan, it was a total BN sweep, and so Muhammad Isa bin Abdul Samad remained the Menteri Besar of Negeri Sembilan. For Malacca, BN won 21 seats, while BA won just 4, and so Muhammad Ali Rustam was sworn in as the Chief Minister of Malacca on the 2nd of December 1999. And Johor was the second and last BN sweep, with Abdul Ghani Othman remaining the Menteri Besar of Johor. And lastly, for Sabah, their election was actually held on the 11th of March 1999, in which BN won 31 seats, while PBS won just 17. And so, Osu Sukam was sworn in as the Chief Minister of Sabah on the 14th of March 1999. So, what do we make of these election results? The opposition did make quite a few gains, not as substantial as the 1990 gains. However, they were mainly just passes gains, mainly from the backlash due to the economy and Anwar's arrest. While the DAP did have a net seat gain, a lot of their very high-ranking leaders, such as their Secretary General, Lim Kit Siang, lost their elections. So, it remains to be seen. PAS was the big winner, but did the rest of the opposition really benefit from the red wave? Time will tell, and we'll see if the opposition can last. Until next time. See ya.